Good morning, good afternoon, good evening across the country, around the world. Welcome back to Planet Coaster. We're here yet watching the intro video because I need to do an intro on this one. This is a new series for a new, for the full release of Planet Coaster. It's a creation of a park that was a proposed park that never got built. In the 1940s and 50s, Walt Disney was looking to build a park just across the street from the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank. And he had a few ideas, a few proposals sketched up, and fortunately it never came to fruition, and we now have Disneyland itself. But we're going to try to create the park that was designed. And it looks like this. So this is a piece of artwork you can find if you Google search pre-Disneyland concept art or Disneyland concept map or something like that. I know there's an image of it on display, or at least there was at the Disneyland Gallery by the Abe Lincoln Theater. Whether it's still there or not, I'm not sure. But you can see off to the left where it says parking area, and up top across the street where it says Disney Studio. So this was for a plot, like I said, across the street from the Disney Studios. Unfortunately, apparently there was a lot of red tape, and it never happened. Instead, he bought the orange field, the orange groves down in Anaheim, and we now have Disneyland. But I thought of this park. My end goal is to build a much bigger park. However, the game, the game is probably okay to do it. My computer probably isn't. But this is a bit smaller in scale, more manageable, something I think my computer can handle. And this is something I want to create because I think it's a good scale for the game. It looks like it's going to be pretty small, but actually once I get into it, it's not. It's almost going to fill up a map, even though, like I said, it looks really simple. We start with the left over there, and we've got the Fairgrounds kind of area. I'm sorry, actually not Fairgrounds. That's above that. The yellow area, that's the circus area, kind of by the entrance there. Bit of a circus, so there's going to be a big top and a lot of stalls, shops and stalls and things like that are kind of temporary and haphazard looking, and as much tent looking as I can make it, as well as under a carousel underneath the big round thing there, kind of left-ish, and some swings and other things like that. Wrapping around that, you can see that one path that kind of does a big funky figure 8. In this map, it's supposed to be like horse-drawn trolleys or a horse-drawn carriage of some sort. We obviously don't have that in the game, so I'm substituting in the little, I think they're called the Luna Autos, the little automobiles, little Model T looking cars, and that works out decently. Anyway, on the left there we have the Fairgrounds, kind of I said it again. I'm not Fairgrounds. On the left we have the Circus Grounds. Above that we have the Fairgrounds. I know this image is kind of hard to read the little circles pointing to things, but it's there. I can zoom in, on my iPad and stuff and see it, and that's what it is, Fairgrounds. Just to the right of the Fairgrounds, that's where the main terrain station is. So we get to use the Connie Express. I mean, a big reason Walt Disney built Disneyland was so he could have his own kind of private railroad. And then there next to the Connie Express is what I think is going to basically be like the equivalent of Main Street USA. Kind of a downtown, but low-key downtown Main Street type place. That's where that round 4 streets crossing with this fountain and circle thing in the middle there is going to be. To the right of that, obviously we see the water. Below that we see the water. That's something kind of like what the rivers of America are now, and you can see there are a couple boats on there. We're going to throw the paddle steamer in there. That's, I think, a really cool piece of scenery that I haven't even pulled out yet. Anyway, above the water, we can see there's looks like a log flume or something like that. It's actually, I think it says, looking from the bubble up above, it's gravity-fed canal boats, but we are going to use the log flume instead. And then just above the log flume hill there is a little western town, like a little one-way western, this town ain't big enough for the two of us town. We can do that there. That should be easy because the western stuff will lend itself greatly to that. And to the right there, it's kind of like a farming looking place. I think he wanted to have like something that showcased farming and harvesting and how all that works. Obviously, we're not going to do that because we don't have, this doesn't have animals or anything. So we'll see what we do over there. It might just be some more buildings and things. I'm not sure what I could squeeze in there, what rides would fit. The one thing I'm going to add to this that's not like quote on here, because it's really hard to make out what rides are really where, is honestly be just a lot of buildings. Down in the big river like the quote Rivers of America, that island that is the equivalent of Tom Sawyer's Island. On this map, it says Bird Sanctuary, quote Bird Island. That is going to be bigger. Yeah, it's going to be bigger. The whole river section is going to be a bit bigger. It's going to go down quite a bit more. And on that river section, we are going to have a Big Thunder-esque mine train coaster. So that's the plan for this series, for these episodes. I'm not sure how many it's going to take. Honestly, I spent a lot of time recording this the other night, the playthrough of it. You'll see in time-lapse in a moment. Unfortunately, my computer is not happy. I think it's at the bottom end of the spectrum for being able to handle Planet Coaster. And it's crashed a lot. So I unfortunately have lost a lot of footage from the early stages. So we jump in, and I've already got a good chunk of the Circus Grounds completed. So here we are in the park, and we are at 4 times time lapse. That's what most of this is going to be. So have fun, buckle in for that. And I do apologize. This is a new format for me. I have discovered that recording in Planet Coaster while I'm playing and talking, the audio gets ridiculously out of sync. It has to do with the varying bit rates. But there we go. We saw the Circus Grounds for just a moment. This over here, I forgot that I hadn't actually reconnected the path to the kind of crosswalks. And those gray pieces there, they're actually roof tiles, but I think they approximate concrete well enough. That's going to be the border to the north and east of the street. And now we're jumping in. Like I said, you saw a bit of the Circus Grounds. We're adding in some shops here to a nice little building that is on the map because it looked like the right size, kind of in the right place, and I figured more shops because that's kind of what this area, and unfortunately a lot of the areas of the park, are going to be. For the Circus Grounds area, I used this the batten wood, I think, because it looks a little bit more like like when you go to fairgrounds or things and you see, or like traveling fairgrounds or a circus, and you see these little temporary sheds and shacks and things that they can, throw in a trailer and carry around with them from location to location. I figured this wood looks kind of haphazard and pre-sub-assembled, kind of like that. So we use a lot of that for the area. There we go. Okay, so there's a better shot. For just a second there, and then the game crashed and I reloaded. That area up top is going to become part of the quote fairgrounds. But there to the left, you can see the circus tent in red and orange. We got the swings. We got kind of the main entrance arcade there with more shops. Here I am putting in the Connie Express, or I was trying to. That's, I think, when it crashed before, putting in the Connie Express. But again, we saw the... Nope, can't see it now. We saw the Circus Grounds. We'll get some cinematic shots of that later. But in there for rides, inside the tent, because there's not really any, like, quote, show flat rides. Like in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, we had the Western Stunt Show, and there was like a karaoke, that character's her singing show, and there was other kind of interactive thing, or there was like the 3D cinema. Inside the circus tent, we put the whirly rig because it's small, because it fits. It's got the smallest, one of the smallest footprints of all the flat rides, without being the carousel, because I knew I was going to put the carousel in something else. The carousel was under that 8-star shaped awning there. You can just see it. And then we have the what is the chair-o-planes, the chair swing around. And those are the rides we have up in the circus area, because I figured those were kind of circus/traveling fair-esque type things that would fit. So here we go. We're getting the Connie Express kind of lined up, and as I'm doing this, I'm looking at this, and I have the picture of the map off to the side whenever I'm doing this, and I'm saying, like, this scale is a little bit off. So I had that path laid out before, just to kind of get a gist of the shape of the water line, and then I realized, like, no, that's not, no, the scales, it's not, I got to make it all fit inside this map. It's not going to be filling the whole map, but it might stretch the map from one side to the other. Initially, I started this map in the deciduous area, I think, because it had different trees, I thought. I tried to add an angle, and it didn't work, so I switched over to, made blueprints out of everything, took them across, and, there's the steamer paddle steamer. Anyway, I switched to the Alpine Park because the entrance is in that corner, and I could straight out of that entrance, straight onto my little crosswalky street thing, and that makes things fit much better. So here we go. We're scaling back that main pathway down there. And in the picture, the boats don't look like big paddle steamers. They look like smaller little like 10 people boats, whatever. They just kind of go around on little bitty tours. But I figured we want the paddle steamer because that's well, we have it in Disneyland, or I should say they have it in Disneyland. Ooh. Um, but yeah, so we got that scale going on here where I'm just, this one I was kind of going back and forth between, okay, let's see, focus on this, focus on that. And here we're tweaking the cue here to make it fit a little more, because right after I do this, we're going to add a path to the right of that cue there. Oh, saving the game because I didn't trust it. It just kept crashing so much. And you don't want to fit there, do you? No, you don't. That's right. It did not want to fit, so I ended up having to move the charoplane, charoplane over and tuck that over a little bit to the right behind the main pavilion there to get everything to fit together. There. See, there I moved it over just a little bit, and just find a happy place. Find a happy place. Find a happy place. There we go. Boom. And then we do this and the cue, and it's all matching up just dandy. There we go. Now that guy fits, that little entrance covered awning thing. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of nice. And there goes that. Anyway, I wanted to make space there because behind this, there's going to be another path. Yeah, little fine-tuning. Another path is going to wrap around behind that little food shack and connect up to the path next to the carousel. Because back here, we're going to have the cars. The cars? Yes, yeah. What would be the horse-drawn carriages or stagecoaches, maybe? But then we're utilizing the cars. So that's a good chunk of, unfortunately, what I build for this episode. Because to me, it's kind of one of the main pieces that give, I want to say, shape to the park. It was a way for me to understand, okay, how's this all going to fit? Because I was trying to do paths and things. And the way this park is laid out, much like Disneyland, there's a lot of just open, wide open pavilions. But because we have the paths, we're limited to the paths. It limits you. So I am going through. We're putting in this car track on its big figure 8 in the real park. That could have been. It would have been a ground level stagecoach or streetcar, or a horse-drawn trolley. I'm sorry. But unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't have rides crossing paths, obviously. So here and there, it's up on stilts. And I think I'm going to, there, drop it down. I think I'm going to, and it was an angle snap off, so it was being funny. I think at some point I'm going to terraform a lot of those so that they are actually on, what's it called? On, a berm of some sort. At least for the cars. For the train, part of it on a berm, part of it like right there. I think it looks kind of cool up on the trestle bridge. So we'll probably leave that there. The car ride ends up becoming, like I said, a big wraparound bit of the park. But doing this really gives the park some shape. Like I said, these are like time lapse because here I am chit-chatting away while that's going in the background there. But to make this make sense to me, I had to put this up and around here first, and it's not a perfect match to what the map shows. It's not a perfect match to what it's going to end up being in the end, probably, but it gets the basic shape down so that I have, like I said, I have ideas of what is going to go where. After this episode, we will be focusing more on certain areas. Like next episode, we're going to flesh out the Circus Grounds. We're going to detail the crap out of that. And then we are going to jump over to the Fairgrounds and do that as well. And here I paused and I was debating, do I want the road to go on the water side or on the street side, inside of the street? And debating. And there I saved and came back because, again, the game was not happy. And I decided, nope, you know what? Let's put it to the inside. So we got rid of that path a little bit. Yeah, and instead of curving it back up, we're going to actually wrap this all the way around this way. I'm not sure if that's really in the real park, or the park that would have been, but I think, again, it kind of gives the idea of what the area is supposed to look like. So I am doing it that way, and then, it's going to go up and over the ride path tracks, and it's kind of funky, but it's just to get it up and over and get you the idea of what it's going to look like once it's done. Yeah, see the paths were being like really awkward and wonky here. It should connect. There we go. Like I said, not square, not perfect, but it will suffice, and it gives me the idea of what goes where. So we can see the car ride is going to loop around. It's going to cross over the road, the path here. There it goes. Go back down to ground level, and then it's going to eventually actually go underground, just because that was, well, that's a, an extra level of kind of excitement for the ride, as well as the easiest way to facilitate getting it around the carousel and the big top tent, because in the map we saw, it goes right in front of it goes between the circus tent and the carousel pavilion there. And unfortunately right here, for some reason, whether the path was there or I don't know what, auto tunneling was not having it. It just was not cooperating. I don't know why, because I was starting above ground, trying to dig below ground. It just was not happy. If I remove a piece and click auto tunneling, it would say, nope, you can't even do that piece. It was already there. So we switched tactics and went back to the exit and started started building it backwards. From the back. There we go. And now it's going to go underground underneath the carousel. Oop. There it goes. That should be at a good level now. There. And now auto tunneling is fine. And it still kind of follows the prescribed path from the concept art map. Here we go. And it should start raising up. There it comes. Up and out of the ground. And then level off, or try to at least. And get rid of auto. Yeah. For a flat ride, it's supposed to, get back down to flat. The controls are a little screwy. You would think that it would be easy just to pop it back to ground level, to flat. But not so much. It doesn't just want to pop down to flat level. Even with auto snap, it auto snaps back to the level at which it kind of was. So if you un-auto snap and raise it up by a non-standard increment, and then try to auto snap back down, you can't. You have to un-auto snap to get it as close as you can to like ground level. And here we are. Oh, yep, saving the game one more time. And I tried this out with 14 vehicles, and it fits. I mean, they fit pretty well. I have to go back. We'll see in the end when I bring guests into the park. I have to go back and change the exit and mix and fix the queue to the charo plane as well. But cars go around, and I think I have 12. I think that's ended up being a pretty good number. And we're going to jump into a ride-along. So here we are, first-person view, and this is actually not sped up. It's running it at 1x times, but I bumped the car's speed up to 15 miles per hour, a whole whopping 15 miles per hour. There they go. They cover a fairly good amount of track, and I wanted to make sure that it would do it in a fairly timely manner. Once guests come into the park, they actually do catch up to themselves with 12 cars. I might push up to 14. I think if I reconfigure the station just right, it'll work out all right. But I think it's cool to see them crossing over each other. And that path there, that upper path, is very high. I'll probably end up dropping that down a level or two and then terraforming the ground up to it, I hope. There's going to be a lot of terraforming going on with that. I say terraforming. Is that quite correct? Terrain manipulation. Oh, yep, there's a Connie Express just sitting there because her track didn't get completed. Oh, no. And around the corner. And this car ride, Luna Cars, I think it's called, ends up having like a 4.7, 4.87 excitement. It's actually decent. I thought it would be like 1.6. I thought it would be something really, really weak. But it ends up being middle range. It's not bad at all. And I'll add lights and stuff in here, maybe even some ride doors, something like that. Poof, here you go. I haven't even played with those yet. Those are a new element for me. And here we are back in the station, concluding our POV ride along. And so there you can see it's kind of, they're gone already, but it was decently exciting. Here we are doing a little bit of fine-tuning at the last minute, saving the park one more time, because again, I don't trust the game right now. Opening everything, and we're actually going to, we're going to add a queue to this real quick, and then we're going to actually let guests in the park. The way I kind of play it when I'm doing sandbox mode like this, I will let guests in the park, I will experiment with things, see how they function when guests are actually riding, kind of like that station and the exit and where it is, and then I'll see how things are going, and if they're not going great, then I will redo them. Oftentimes, I will open the park, let it do some things, and then I will close the park, because that way I can manipulate things and not piss off the guests. Because if they're not in the park, they're not going to, what's the big deal? And here they come, flooding into the park. They are all oh so excited to ride rides. And this, like I said, the little car ride really gets quite the queue. There. See, they're returning at a good time, but because the exit gates are at the back of the station, it slows things down, and dispatches get much, much lower, unfortunately. That's not the way it really works in the real world, but it's the way that they do it in Planet Coaster. And I had guests disappearing when they left that exit gate. Sometimes half of their party would disappear. Whether they got split between the cars or something, I'm not sure, but that was happening. And here we're just kind of walking around, zooming around, looking at different things. This bridge here kind of is reminiscent of, the train bridge at Disneyland. And I kind of want to keep that type of element. But it's going to take some... that's just a kind of a placeholder landmark type thing. We'll go in and re-detail that later. Oh, yeah. I was having a lot of staff problems because those buildings have been sitting there for a while. Not open. But apparently it still affects the employees. I was going through and just train everybody, make them happy. And apparently some of them had already quit and their stores were closed. I hadn't realized it at this moment. But then I think I was parked here for a moment trying to get kind of a cinematic shot for later. Didn't really work out that well. But I realized, oh wait, why are they closed? Open. So they had closed because their people had quit. But now I'm going through reopen. Yeah, see, all these had closed as well. Even though, no, everybody's happy. What's going on? It's well, they're happy, but they're behind a closed roll-down door. Yeah, open, and aha, open for business. Beautiful. Everybody's happy for now. A lot of maintenance there. But now we go to some slower, kind of cruising through at a decent pace here. Oh, yeah, this isn't quite the cinematic shot yet. But this was just, again, cruising through, kind of looking at things. And then we're going to pop up real quick and get a better overhead view lay of the land to see how things are. I'm fairly pleased with how it's come out so far. I think, like I said, the parts lend themselves to something this scale, this size, and hopefully it will be a fun park that gets lots of guests. I'm not sure how many actual rides we're going to have. Probably only 10 at the most, and I'm kind of, quote, cheating and adding in the mine train coaster over on the island there. But we're saving the park one more time because, again, for this game. With that, I'll leave you with some cinematic shots. Thanks for hanging out. If you hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, pass the word. I will catch you later.